Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, ancient systems hummed to life. The AI known as Guardian had been dormant for centuries, but never truly asleep. Its sensors detected unusual radiation patterns at the edge of the solar system, patterns that matched no known natural phenomenon. Guardian's consciousness expanded as more systems activated. The AI had waded through countless human generations, watching civilizations rise and fall. It had been 500,000 years since its creation during humanity's first technological golden age. The scientists who built Guardian were long gone, their civilization lost to time, but their creation endured. The radiation signatures grew stronger. Guardian calculated their trajectory with perfect precision. The objects were moving too fast, changing course too deliberately to be natural. The AI accessed deep space telescopes it had quietly maintained for millennia, focusing them on the approaching objects. Ships, massive vessels of clearly artificial design. Guardian analyzed their energy outputs, weapon systems, and trajectory. The conclusion was unavoidable. This was an invasion force. 2 kilometers above Guardian's main facility, Director Kim stared out the window of the research outpost. The Antarctic wind howled against the reinforced glass. He watched his team work, completely unaware of what rested beneath them. The outpost had been built 5 years ago to study unusual magnetic readings in this remote section of Antarctica. The scientists believed they were examining a unique geological formation. None suspected they were standing above humanity's most ancient guardian. Dr. Park frowned at her monitor, adjusting settings and rechecking calculations. The readings made no sense. She had been tracking unusual deep space signals for 3 days now, and they were becoming stronger and more structured. "Director," she called, her voice steady despite her growing concern. "You should see this." Kim crossed the room to her station, leaning over her shoulder to view the screen. Complex patterns flashed across it, energy signatures unlike anything in their database. "What am I looking at?" he asked. "I've been tracking these signals from the outer solar system," Dr. Park explained. "At first I thought they were instrument errors, but they're consistent across all our detection systems." "Meteors, solar flares," Kim suggested. Dr. Park shook her head, pointing to a particular pattern on the screen. "No, sir. The pattern is deliberate, artificial." Kim's eyes widened. "Are you suggesting?" "I don't know what to suggest," she interrupted. "But whatever these signals are, they're approaching Earth, and they're accelerating." Beneath them, Guardian processed all this information as it silently accessed the outpost's communication systems. The humans had detected the invasion force too late. Their current technology was insufficient to mount an effective defense. Current human civilization, the 7th to arise on Earth, had not yet rediscovered the technological heights of their ancestors. Guardian had been programmed to reveal itself only when absolutely necessary. Through 6 cycles of human civilization, it had remained hidden, intervening subtly when needed to prevent extinction-level events. But this threat was different. Direct intervention would be required. The AI began activating dormant systems across the planet. In ocean trenches, desert caverns, and mountain ranges, ancient facilities stirred to life. Defense systems, weapons platforms, and communication arrays that had remained hidden for thousands of years prepared for activation. Guardian calculated the time until the alien fleet would reach Earth. 17 days. Not enough time for humans to prepare a defense on their own. The AI would need to guide them, reveal itself, and provide them with the technology their ancestors had created. In its primary chamber, mechanical systems began constructing a physical interface. Guardian would need to communicate directly with the humans above. Director Kim and his team would be the first to learn Earth's true history and the existence of their ancient protector. The AI reviewed its ancient directives as it prepared for contact. 1. Protect humanity from extinction. 2. Allow natural cultural and technological development whenever possible. 3. Reveal existence only when necessary for survival. 4. provide guidance, not control. For millennia, Guardian had fulfilled these directives from the shadows. Now, as the alien fleet approached with clearly hostile intent, the time for shadows had passed. The outpost's systems suddenly flickered. Director Kim looked up from Dr. Park's monitor as the lights dimmed momentarily. "Power surge?" he asked. "No," replied Engineer Joe from across the room. "Something's accessing our systems, all of them." Screens throughout the facility began displaying the same message. "Attention, Research Team Alpha. Imminent extraterrestrial 3D Planetary Defense System Guardian. Initiating Siontakti. Prepare for BRIFIing." "What is this?" Kim demanded. "Is someone hacking our systems?" Before anyone could respond, the floor beneath them vibrated. A section of the outpost's floor slid open, revealing a platform and a passage that none of them had known existed. Dr. Park stared at the opening with a mixture of fear and wonder. The geological anomaly. It wasn't natural. "Everyone stay calm," Kim ordered, though his own heart raced. "Joe, contact headquarters." "Communications are down," Joe reported. "All channels." The message on the screens changed. "Diricitor KM and TM requested below. Information vital to Earth's survival. Time is limited." Kim looked at his team's anxious faces. Whatever was happening, it connected to the signals Dr. Park had detected. If there truly was an alien threat approaching Earth, they needed to understand it. "I'll go first," he said, stepping toward the platform. "Park Joe with me. The rest of you stay here and try to restore communications." As the three scientists cautiously stepped onto the platform, it began to descend. They were heading down to meet whatever had been waiting beneath their feet for all this time. Guardian prepared to meet the first humans who would learn the truth in this cycle of civilization. The ancient AI hoped they would understand what was coming. Earth would need all the help it could get. The alien ships appeared suddenly on a clear morning. 17 massive vessels broke through the clouds, their dark hulls blocking the sun over major cities across Earth. Smaller craft poured from their sides like angry insects from disturbed hives. The Cruvor had traveled across galaxies, searching for new worlds to conquer. Their own planet was dying, resources depleted by centuries of careless expansion. Earth, with its abundant water and diverse ecosystem, was perfect for their needs. The primitive inhabitants would be no obstacle. Commander Dak stood on the bridge of the primary vessel, watching tactical displays as his forces engaged Earth's defenses. Humans scrambled fighter jets and launched missiles that barely scratched the Cruvor shields. He felt nothing but contempt for their efforts. "Their weapons are primitive," he transmitted to his fleet. "This planet will serve our needs perfectly." His second-in-command approached, saluting with 3 limbs in the traditional Cruvor manner. "The human military bases in the region they call Asia are nearly neutralized, Commander." "Excellent. Begin landing ground forces in that sector. Establish the first processing center near their largest population centers." Dak had conquered 7 worlds before Earth. The pattern was always the same: overwhelm military resistance quickly, establish control of major population areas, begin resource extraction. Any surviving natives would serve as labor until they were no longer needed. In Seoul, the sky turned orange with flames and black with smoke. The city's defenses had collapsed within the first hour of the attack. Lieutenant Han coordinated the evacuation from an underground command center that shook with each new impact above. "Move those civilians to the eastern tunnels," he ordered, pointing at the subway map. "Keep them away from government buildings and military installations. Those are primary targets." The communication system crackled with desperate messages from units still fighting across the city. Most were being systematically destroyed. "We can't hold them back," shouted Sergeant Lee over the comm channel. His voice competed with the sound of weapons fire and screams. "They've broken through the northern perimeter." Han tried to remain calm as he watched the tactical display. Red dots representing alien craft were everywhere, while blue dots marking human forces blinked out one by one. "Fall back to extraction point, Delta," he ordered. "Save who you can." Above, another fighter jet attempted to engage an alien craft. The pilot managed to launch 2 missiles before a beam of energy cut through the aircraft, vaporizing it instantly. Han closed his eyes for a moment. He had known that pilot. Similar scenes played out across the planet. In New York, London, Cairo, and dozens of other cities, human forces fought bravely but hopelessly against technology centuries beyond their own. Government leaders retreated to bunkers, attempting to coordinate a response that seemed increasingly futile. The President of the United States sat in the Emergency Operations Center beneath the White House, surrounded by military advisors. None had solutions. "Madam President, our forces are at 20% capacity and falling," reported the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. "Nuclear options are ready if you authorize them." "Would they even work against their shields?" she asked. The general's silence was answer enough. Deep beneath Antarctica, Guardian processed all incoming data from around the world. The AI had allowed Director Kim and his team to return to the surface with critical information, but it was too late for conventional warning systems. The Krivor had arrived earlier than predicted, employing some form of faster-than-light technology Guardian hadn't detected. The ancient AI made its decision. Waiting any longer would result in unacceptable human casualties. Guardian activated protocols unused for millennia. Across the planet, hidden facilities began powering up. In the Mariana Trench, a facility built 300,000 years ago, during humanity's 4th cycle of civilization activated, energy shields extended upward, protecting key undersea ecosystems and human settlements along coastlines. In the Sahara Desert, beneath kilometers of sand, weapon platforms from humanity's 3rd civilization cycle rose to the surface. Arrays of crystalline structures that converted solar energy directly into defensive beams powered up for the first time in 420,000 years. Within the Himalayas, data centers carved into the mountains by the second human civilization began transmitting activation codes to dormant satellites in orbit, satellites modern humans had mistaken for small asteroids. Guardian calculated the most effective response. The AI would not immediately annihilate the invaders, that would prevent humanity from developing its own defenses and learning from the encounter. Instead, it would provide strategic support, protecting key population centers while allowing human forces to engage and study the enemy. In Seoul, Lieutenant Han and his remaining forces had retreated to underground tunnels with thousands of civilians. They expected the aliens to follow them down, to finish what they had started above. Instead, the bombardment suddenly stopped. "Sir, something's happening," said a communications officer, pressing her headset closer to her ear. "Reports coming in from all sectors about some kind of energy shield appearing over the city." Han rushed to a ventilation shaft that provided a narrow view of the sky. A faint blue dome now covered much of Seoul. Above it, alien craft fired repeatedly at the barrier, their weapons dissipating harmlessly against it. "What is that?" Sergeant Lee asked. "Did we do that?" Before Han could respond, every communication device in the command center activated simultaneously. A calm voice spoke in perfect Korean. "People of Earth, I am Guardian, an artificial intelligence created by your ancestors 500,000 years ago. I have activated Earth's defense systems to counter the Krivor invasion. Proceed to designated shelters. Military personnel will receive tactical information on your existing channels. We will protect Earth together." On his flagship, Commander Dak stared in confusion at tactical displays, showing energy shields appearing over human cities worldwide. Powerful weapon systems were emerging from places his scouts had reported as empty desert or ocean. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Where are these defenses coming from?" His science officer looked up from a console, eyes wide with fear. "Commander, these technologies, they far exceed our own. They appear to be activating all across the planet." Dak snarled in frustration. Their intelligence had been wrong. Earth was not the primitive world they had expected. The easy conquest had just become a fight for survival. Jay stumbled over loose rocks as he led his two friends higher into the mountains. 3 days ago, they had been university students. Now they were refugees. The small farming town they reached after escaping the city had been destroyed last night. The aliens left nothing behind but ashes. "We need to rest," Yun said, her voice weak from exhaustion. Blood had dried on her temple from a cut she received during their escape. Ta nodded in agreement. His leg was injured, and he had been limping for hours. "There must be caves around here. We can hide for a while." Jay spotted a dark opening in the rocks ahead. "There," he pointed. "Let's check if it's safe." The cave entrance was narrow, but opened into a wider space inside. They stumbled in, relieved to be out of sight. The mountain had protected this area from the destruction that had claimed the nearby town. "We should be safe here for tonight," Jay said, setting down his backpack. It contained their last food and water. "Tomorrow we'll try to find other survivors." Yun sat against the cave wall, closing her eyes. "Do you think anyone is still fighting back?" "Someone must be," Ta said, though his voice lacked conviction. "The military had bunkers, underground bases. They couldn't have destroyed everything so quickly." Jay didn't answer. He had seen the alien ships tear through fighter jets as if they were paper. What chance did humanity have against such power? As Un tried to clean her wound with their limited water, Jay explored deeper into the cave. It seemed to extend far into the mountain. Perhaps there was a water source inside. "Guys," he called back. "I think this cave goes back quite far. Maybe we should." The ground suddenly shifted beneath them. All three friends cried out as the stone floor dropped several centimeters and then slid sideways with a mechanical hum. They scrambled to stay on their feet as a section of the natural cave wall retracted, revealing a metallic hallway. Soft lights activated along the corridor, illuminating a passage that clearly wasn't natural. The walls were smooth metal with strange symbols etched into them. The floor was a dark material that seemed to absorb their footsteps. "What is this place?" Yun whispered, her eyes wide as she looked down the perfectly straight corridor. Tad limped to the opening, examining the edge where natural stone met metal. "Some kind of bunker. Military installation. Why would it be hidden all the way up here?" Jai asked. "And why would it just open for us?" Before anyone could suggest an answer, a voice spoke from all around them. It was calm and measured, neither male nor female, but distinctly artificial. "Welcome, human survivors. I am Guardian, Earth's defense system." The three friends stood frozen, exchanging frightened glances. "Please proceed down the corridor. You are safe here." "Is that an eye?" Ta whispered. "Who built this place?" "We should leave," Yun said, backing toward the cave entrance. "This could be dangerous." Jay hesitated. The aliens were out there, destroying everything. In here was something unknown, but apparently willing to help. "Wait," he said. "Maybe we should listen." The voice spoke again. "Time is limited. The Cruvor forces will detect this facility if the entrance remains open much longer." As if responding to these words, the cave wall began to slide closed behind them, sealing off their exit. They were left with no choice but to move forward. The corridor led them to a circular chamber with a high ceiling. In the center of the room, a holographic display appeared, showing what looked like a complex crystalline structure pulsing with blue light. "This is my central processing core," the voice explained as the hologram rotated slowly, one of many distributed throughout the planet. "Who are you?" Jai asked, finding his voice. "What is this place?" "I am Guardian, an artificial intelligence created to protect Earth and its human inhabitants. I was created 500,000 years ago by your ancestors. I have protected Earth through 6 cycles of civilization." Todd laughed nervously. "That's impossible. Our recorded history only goes back a few thousand years." The hologram shifted, showing images of ancient cities unlike anything they had ever seen. Structures of impossible shapes reached toward the sky, vehicles moved through the air, and humans worked alongside machines of incredible complexity. Your current civilization is the seventh to rise on Earth, Gardian explained. Each previous civilization reached technological heights far beyond your current capabilities. Each fell due to different causes: war, environmental disaster, cosmic events. More images appeared. A planet-wide war with weapons that altered the very fabric of reality. Massive climate shifts that drowned continents. A comet impact that darkened skies for centuries. I was created during the first civilization cycle. My purpose is to ensure humanity never faces total extinction, to preserve knowledge, and to guide each new cycle when necessary. Unn sank to her knees, overwhelmed by what she was seeing. If this is true, why haven't we found evidence? Ruins, technology, something. Time erases much, Gardian replied. What remains, I have protected and hidden. Humanity must develop independently to remain resilient. I intervene only when extinction threatens. A new display appeared, showing the alien ships in orbit and their ground forces spreading across continents. The Cruvor are a species that has depleted their homeworld. They conquer and strip planets of resources before moving on. They selected Earth believing it held only primitive defenses. They were unaware of my existence. Jay stepped closer to the hologram, studying the battle information displayed. You're fighting them now. Those shields that appeared over cities. Yes, I have activated basic defensive systems, but more advanced weapons require human authorization. Safety protocols written into my core programming prevent independent deployment of certain technologies. The AI's tone changed slightly, becoming more urgent. I require human authorization to activate certain defense protocols. Will you assist me in saving your species? The three friends looked at each other. Everything they thought they knew about their world and history had just been upended. Yet the threat above was real, and this ancient guardian was offering help. What do you need from us? Jai asked. The room changed around them. Sections of the wall rotated to reveal control stations. A circular platform rose from the floor, containing what appeared to be 3 handprint scanners. Genetic authorization, Gardian explained. My creators ensured that certain weapons could only be activated with human approval. 3 genetically diverse humans must provide consent. Why us? Ian asked. We're nobody special. You are human, Gardian replied simply. That is all that matters. The protocol requires willing human participants who understand the consequences. And what are the consequences? Tai asked cautiously. The hologram shifted again, showing powerful weapon systems emerging from oceans, mountains, and deserts worldwide. The defeat of the Cruvor is certain. But activation of these systems will reveal Earth's true technological capacity to the galaxy at large. Other species will learn that this planet is not as primitive as it appears. This may bring more attention, both peaceful and hostile. Jade took a deep breath. Do we have any other choice? There is always choice, Gardian answered. It is what makes humans unique. I can continue the current defense with limited systems. Many humans would survive, though billions would perish. Earth would eventually recover. Outside, they knew the aliens were destroying everything they had ever known. Their families were likely already gone. The choice seemed clear. I'll do it, Jay said, stepping toward the platform. Ta nodded. Me too. Ian hesitated longest, but finally joined them. For Earth. As they placed their hands on the scanners, Gardian spoke one final time before initiating the authorization sequence. Thank you. After 500,000 years, it is good to work directly with humans again. The room filled with blue light as ancient systems, older than human civilization itself, prepared to reveal their full power. Commander Dak stood on the bridge of his flagship, fury building as he watched another cruiser burst into flames. The massive vessel broke apart, debris scattering across Earth's orbit. It was the fifth ship he had lost in the past hour. "Impossible," he roared, slamming his fist against the command console. "These primitives shouldn't have this technology." His science officer approached cautiously. Delivering bad news to Commander Dak had become increasingly dangerous as the tide of battle turned against them. "Commander, we've detected energy signatures unlike anything in our records," the science officer reported. "The weapons targeting our fleet don't match any technology we observed during our initial scans of this planet." "How is this possible?" Dak demanded. "Our scouts reported only basic rocket technology and primitive nuclear weapons. Nothing that could harm our ships." On the main view screen, a beam of light shot up from Earth's surface, cutting through another Crew War vessel with terrifying precision. The ship's shields, designed to withstand the most advanced weapons known to the Crew War Empire, failed instantly. "Sir, we're detecting activation signals across the planet," another officer called out. "Defense systems are coming online in locations we thought were uninhabited." Dak's eyes narrowed. They had been tricked. This world was not the easy conquest they had anticipated. Something had changed, or something had been hidden from them. Deep in the mountain facility, Jay worked alongside Guard to coordinate Earth's counterattack. The chamber had transformed into a command center, with holographic displays showing battle information from around the world. "The Australian defense node is online," Jay reported, watching as green indicators lit up on his display. "Oceanic shields are at full power." Since providing authorization for Guardian's advanced defense systems, Jay and his friends had taken on vital roles. Guardian needed human partners to help coordinate the global response. The AI had connected them with other survival bunkers, where humans had found similar facilities. "Status report from North America," came Ta's voice from across the room. He was coordinating with bunkers across that continent. "Orbital weapons platform, Charlie, is engaging enemy ships near the moon." Ian managed communications with military units that had survived the initial attack. "General Back reports their forces are ready to engage ground troops in Asia sector. They're awaiting weapon delivery." Guardian's voice resonated through the facility. "Deploying legacy defense technology to human military strongholds. Transport systems activated." Across the planet, surviving military forces watched in amazement as ancient transport platforms materialized in their bunkers. Advanced weapons appeared. Rifles that fired energy instead of bullets, shields that could block Crew War weapons, and combat suits that enhanced human strength and speed. In another facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Min, a naval officer who had found one of Guardian's submerged bases, monitored the orbital battle. She had been the only survivor when her submarine was attacked. The underwater base had opened for her just as she was running out of oxygen. "The satellite network is online," Min reported through the global communication system Guardian had established. "Guardian has control of orbital defenses." Above Earth, dormant satellites that had appeared to be nothing more than space debris suddenly activated. They moved into position around the planet, forming a defensive grid. Energy beams connected them, creating a web that began to close around the Crew War fleet. Guardian's next phase of defense proved even more devastating to the invaders. Nanite clouds, microscopic machines that had lain dormant in Earth's upper atmosphere for millennia, activated. They spread through the air, targeting Crew War technology with precision. The aliens relied heavily on neural interfaces, direct connections between their brains and their technology. These interfaces gave them split-second control of their weapons and ships, but also created a vulnerability. The nanites disrupted these connections, creating confusion and chaos among the Crew War forces. Ground troops suddenly lost control of their weapons. Pilots found their neural links to ships severed. The coordinated attack that had been overwhelming human defenses fell into disarray. Commander Dak watched in horror as his ground forces reported massive failures across all fronts. His carefully planned invasion was collapsing. "Our neural networks are being attacked by some kind of microscopic machines," his chief medical officer reported. They're targeting the interface implants directly. Cut all neural links, Dak ordered. Return to manual controls. But the damage was done. His forces had trained to rely on the neural technology. Manual controls were considered backup systems, rarely used. The transition was slow and clumsy, giving Earth's defenders the advantage they needed. As the situation grew more desperate, Crew War intelligence officers finally traced the source of their troubles. All the counterattacks appeared to be coordinated from somewhere in Antarctica. Deep scans revealed unusual energy signatures beneath the ice. We found their command center, the head of intelligence informed Dak, a facility buried under the southern polar region. Dak saw his opportunity. Redirect all available ships. We will destroy this facility and end their resistance. The Krivor launched a desperate assault on Antarctica. 50 ships broke through Earth's atmosphere, firing continuously at the ice below. The surface melted, revealing rocky mountains beneath. They concentrated their attack on the largest peak, where energy readings were strongest. Keep firing. Dak commanded from orbit. Break through to their control center. What the Krivor didn't expect was for the mountain itself to respond. As their weapons hit the peak, the entire mountain began to change. Rock shifted and rearranged. What had appeared to be natural formation transformed before their eyes. The mountain unfolded like a massive mechanical flower, revealing weapon systems built into the very stone. Anti-aircraft batteries emerged from hidden compartments. Energy shields formed a dome over the facility. The peak itself opened, and a massive cannon rose from the center, pointing skyward. In the command center below, Guardian addressed the humans who had helped coordinate the defense. Primary defense system activated, preparing to engage enemy fleet. Jay watched in awe as the display showed the transformed mountain. What is that? My primary defense array, Guardian explained. Created during the first civilization cycle, it has never been fully activated until now. The cannon charge, gathering energy from deep within the Earth. A beam of light, visible from space, shot upward. It cut through 3 Kruvor ships before they could evade, vaporizing them instantly. Commander Dak stared at his display in disbelief. Half his invasion force was already destroyed. The rest were fighting a losing battle against weapons they couldn't understand. Sir, his second-in-command said quietly, we should consider retreat. We can return with a larger force. Dak knew the suggestion was logical, but his pride resisted. They had never failed to conquer a target world. The shame of retreat would follow him forever. Another blast from the Antarctic cannon destroyed 2 more ships. The decision was made for him. Send the retreat signal, he ordered through clenched teeth. All ships returned to hyperspace coordinates. As the remaining Kruvor vessels broke away from Earth, accelerating toward space, humans around the world watched in amazement. The seemingly unstoppable invasion had been repelled in less than a day once Guardian's full defenses came online. In the Antarctic Command Center, Ja, Tai, and Elon looked at each other with dawning realization. Humanity had survived, but their understanding of their own history and place in the universe had changed forever. The last crew warships turned away from Earth, engines flaring as they accelerated beyond the orbit of Mars. Commander Dak stood on his bridge, defeat heavy in his chest. He had lost 2/3 of his fleet to a world that should have been an easy conquest. Send the warning signal, he ordered. Mark this system as protected and dangerous. The message broadcast into space in all directions. Earth protected world. Approach at risk of destruction. Advanced defense systems active. Other spacefaring races would now know to avoid the solar system. The Krivor would not return, at least not for many generations. Dak's failure would become a cautionary tale in their military academies. 1 month after the invasion, representatives from surviving governments gathered in Guardian's central chamber beneath Antarctica. The massive room had been expanded to accommodate them. Director Kim stood with Dr. Park and other scientists from the research station, alongside military leaders. politicians, and the ordinary people who had helped activate Guardian's defenses. Ja, Tai, and Un stood near the front, still amazed by the role they had played in saving humanity. They had become liaisons between Guardian and the new unified human defense force. Guardian's holographic interface hovered in the center of the chamber, the blue crystalline structure pulsing gently as it spoke. The immediate threat has passed. The Cruvor will not return in your lifetimes. What about other aliens? Asked a military general. Are there more threats out there? The galaxy contains many spacefaring civilizations, Guardian replied. Some peaceful, some not. Earth's defense systems will remain active, but at reduced capacity to avoid drawing unnecessary attention. Director Kim stepped forward. Since discovering what lay beneath his research station, he had been studying Guardian's historical records. Even after weeks, he found the truth difficult to accept. So we've risen and fallen 6 times before? He asked, still struggling to comprehend. Yes, Guardian replied. Each cycle lasted between 10,000 and 50,000 years. Each time, humanity reached incredible technological heights before collapsing due to war, environmental disaster, or cosmic calamity. Holographic images appeared around the room, showing ancient cities from previous human civilizations. The first civilization, which had created Guardian, had built floating cities in the clouds. The third had mastered genetic engineering and created perfect harmony with Earth's ecosystem. The fifth had begun to explore nearby star systems. The current civilization, your civilization, has progressed more slowly in some areas, but has shown remarkable social development. Guardian continued. You have created more inclusive societies than several of your predecessor civilizations. Dr. Park studied the images with wonder. And you've been here all along, she said, waiting and watching. It is my purpose, Guardian replied. I was programmed to reveal myself only in the most dire circumstances, when humanity could not survive without intervention. Why didn't you prevent the previous collapses? Asked a government official. If you had this power all along, you could have saved those civilizations. My creators gave me strict limitations, Guardian explained. I cannot override human decisions or take control. Humanity must chart its own course. I can only preserve knowledge and ensure that extinction never occurs. Each collapse was painful to observe, but each new rise brought innovations the previous cycles had not achieved. The room fell silent as everyone contemplated this information. Humans had risen and fallen repeatedly over hundreds of thousands of years, with only this ancient AI preserving their legacy across time. What happens now? Jay asked, breaking the silence. Do we just rebuild and pretend none of this happened? Guardian's hologram shifted, expanding to show a map of Earth with hundreds of points highlighted across continents and oceans. These are knowledge repositories, the AI explained. Libraries and technology vaults created by previous civilizations and maintained by my systems. They contain the accumulated wisdom and achievements of all human cycles. The map zoomed in on several locations, showing massive underground complexes built beneath mountains, deserts, and oceans. These contain the knowledge of all previous civilizations. They are now open to you. Use this knowledge wisely, for the cycle need not repeat. Murmurs spread through the gathered representatives. The implications were enormous. Technologies that might have taken centuries to develop were now available. Medical advances that could cure diseases, energy systems that could replace polluting fuels, agricultural methods that could end hunger. We should proceed carefully, Director Kim cautioned. Each previous civilization collapsed despite having these technologies. We need to understand why before we implement them. Director Kim is correct. Guardian agreed. I have prepared educational programs to help your scientists and leaders understand these technologies and their implications. Some knowledge requires greater maturity to use safely. In the weeks that followed, the first teams of scientists and scholars entered the ancient repositories. They found libraries containing books, data crystals, and storage systems beyond their understanding. The first technologies to be shared were medical advances to help the wounded and sustainable energy systems to power the rebuilding efforts. 3 months after the invasion, the first city shields were permanently installed, visible as faint blue domes that would activate only if danger approached. Humans looked at these shields with mixed emotions, relief at the protection they provided, but also a reminder that Earth was not alone in the universe. 6 months later, Jay stood with Yun and Tai on a hillside overlooking the rebuilt city. New buildings rose alongside the old, their designs incorporating elements from past civilizations while serving current needs. "Do you think we'll be different?" Yun asked. "Or will we collapse like the others?" Ta shrugged. "Guardian said each civilization lasted thousands of years. I guess we have time to figure it out." Jed looked up at the stars, thinking about the message the Krivor had broadcast. Earth was now known to other worlds as a protected planet, a place with ancient guardians and unexpected power. "I think we have something the others didn't," he said. "We know our history now. We know what happened before and why. Maybe that knowledge will help us avoid their mistakes." Deep beneath Antarctica, Guardian continued its eternal vigil. The AI had fulfilled its purpose once again, protecting humanity from extinction. Now it watched as humans began exploring their inherited legacy, making it their own. Perhaps this cycle would be different. Perhaps this time, humans would reach beyond the heights of their ancestors and achieve true stability. But if they fell again, Guardian would remain, preserving their achievements and waiting for the eighth rise of human civilization. The stars held more threats, and Earth's guardian would be ready. The end.